What is going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to another edition of the Lucrative MMA Betting Show. Pay-per-view week, UFC 315 edition. Jack Della Maddalena taking on Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. Who's going to be remembering the name after this fight, or who's going to be remembered after this fight? Because that's surely going to be fireworks. We got Valentina Shevchenko putting her long reigning title on the line against Manon, Fiorot, the surging contender who everybody expects to become the next champion of the division, whether it's in this fight or not. Grasso, the former champion, is fighting Natalia, Silva, another girl who people expect to be the future champion of the division. So we have two great matchups and four great women's MMA fighters on the main card. I cannot wait for both of those fights. We also got the absolute legend, Aldo, taking on the surgeon, Aiemann Zahabi, who is trying to catch another aging scalp and put it on his record like he did to Pedro Munoz last time out. And guys, you know my job is to give you the best analysis, best predictions, and the best way to make money from MMA in the game. So I'm gonna try and do that for you today. Cue the intro and I'm gonna see you on the other side so we can make some cash. Welcome, my friend. We are back again. This is a good pay-per-view, man. UFC 315, very much looking forward to it. Typically, we do well on pay-per-views. Typically, pay-per-views sometimes are very special cards for me, very big cards. We got quite a few Canadians on this card, and I remember last year, there was a card with a bunch of Canadians on it, and it was one of our biggest cards of the entire year. In fact, I think it was our biggest card of the entire year, over 30 units of profit. We are back in Canada for this one, so hopefully it's going to be a massive pay-per-view event, and hopefully we're going to do as we did on the last Canada card, or one of the last Canada cards, and absolutely crush it. So guys, last week, our 3-month win streak came to an end. It was a very sad day for me. It was a very sad day for everybody in Team Lucrative because, like I said, we took an L on that card. It was an 11 unit L, but the reason it was so painful was because we was very close on a number of calls. We was very close on Thomas Peterson winning inside the distance. We was very close on Misha Tate winning in round 3. We was kind of close on Juliana Miller winning in round 3. We was pretty close on Mason Jones and Jeremy Stevens' fight ending inside the distance. We was very close on Daniel Rodriguez winning via KO in round 1. So, you know, it was one of those nights. In our long shot parlay section, we was also very close, one leg of big cashes of 15,000, 8,000, 10,000, stuff like that. But, you know, what softens the blow is that we won for 3 months before that, you know, and in MMA betting, it's always going to humble you. There's always going to be losing weeks. The most important thing is consistency. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for consistency. And we're going to consistently come back this weekend. So let's get into the card, boys, because it's an absolute banger of a card. And it is Belal Muhammad taking on Jack Della Maddalena for the UFC welterweight championship. So Belal Muhammad is coming into this fight with a record of 24 wins and 3 losses. Jack Della Maddalena is coming into this fight with a record of 17 wins and 2 losses. So both shiny records for the champion and the challenger in this one. Currently, they have Belal Muhammad as the sizable -205 favorite, with the underdog price tag on Jack Della Maddalena coming back at +175. So what is the first thing that stands out to me about this fight? Well, the first thing that stands out to me is that, wow, Belal Muhammad is finally a favorite and Jack Della Maddalena is finally an underdog. So if you go back and you look at these fighters' career, you will see that for the most part, Belal Muhammad is always an underdog, and for the most part, Jack Della Maddalena is always a favorite. And now the roles are reversed, right? And it makes sense. It makes sense because Belal Muhammad is now the champion, but we have to take ourselves out of it and look from a different angle and say, yes, we understand that it makes sense because Belal's the champion, so yeah, they might price him as the favorite, but nothing has actually changed, right? So like these fighters haven't, like Belal Muhammad hasn't suddenly grown a third arm that he's going to be able to throw more punches with. Like he's still the same fighter, regardless if he's champion or not. Now there is a little caveat caveat to say that when you become champion, potentially you get more confident. You know, Teddy Atlas had that famous quote, when you become a champion, you become 10% better or 20% better or whatever he said. So there is an argument there, but for the most part, these guys are still the same fighters as they always were. If these guys fight a year ago, it's going to go pretty similar to how the fight's going to go on the weekend. If they fight in a year's time, it's going to go pretty similar to how they fight on the weekend. If Belal wasn't champion, the fight's still going to go basically the same way as if he was champion for the most part, right? Like I said, a little bit more of a chance for Belal potentially to improve because of confidence. But then at the same time, Jack Della Maddalena has probably never been more motivated for a fight in his entire career. So maybe he performs better, right? So I think it's just interesting because I feel like if these guys fought and it wasn't for a belt, Belal wasn't champion yet, I feel like the line might be pick'em. You know, I feel like the line will be very close. Never forget that JDM was a -150 favorite. I think he even closed -170 range against Gilbert Burns. And so I don't think that he would be a +170 underdog against Belal if Belal wasn't champion. So that's the first thing that jumps out to me, guys, right? Because I'm a gambler at the end of the day. I can get into the stylistics. We're trying to make money from this thing. So that's the first thing that stands out to me. Is the market overcorrecting based on Belal Muhammad now holding the belt? I usually do that, boys. I'll say something now. One of the biggest, not the biggest edges, but something that I've noticed in the game is that champions get overrated. Champions get favored all the time. It's very rare you see a champion as an underdog. It's pretty rare. And even if he is, he's probably not as big of an underdog as he potentially should be based on a stylistic. So yeah, but let's get into the fight, boys, because, you know, we can read the market one way, but let's get into the actual fight. So this is a striker versus grappler matchup. This is a binary matchup. So it's really going to be about who gets their game going. Is it going to be the striker in JDM? Is he going to be able to catch Belal at the end of his punches or even on the inside? Is Belal going to be able to grapple him? Now, I think it's very irresponsible for me, no matter who I'm picking, to not acknowledge the massive advantage that Belal Muhammad has in the wrestling and on the ground here. Belal Muhammad is a very, very good wrestler for MMA. One of the best in the entire division. I don't think he's the best technical wrestler. I think if you put him in a wrestling match, he's not going to win at the top level of the sport, right? I don't even necessarily know if he can compete at the top level of the sport. But what I will say is that in MMA, he blends it very well. His fight IQ is elite. The way he feints into the takedown is very, very elite. His initial shot is pretty athletic and he can drive you up against the cage, and he's just very smart with his cage wrestling, wall wrestling, MMA specific wrestling style. Control everything is pretty good. Now, grappling wise, he's not the best. I don't think he's a great jiu-jitsu player. I don't think his control is that good on the ground. But like I said, he blends it well. You get up, he can take you back down again. He uses ground and pound to keep you down rather than straight up jiu-jitsu, because maybe he doesn't have the skill set. But when you're getting punched in the face, you're probably going to move to a different position, right? And you can't do that in jiu-jitsu. So I just believe that MMA-wise, his grappling is elite. It's elite, and it's won him the title. You know, probably his best win in the entire run is his knockout win over Sean Brady. Now, Sean Brady is potentially the next title challenger, even potential title holder. And we saw what happened when he fought Belal, right? Knocked out brutally on the feet. Is JDM going to be able to defend the grappling for 5 rounds? I think no. I think almost impossible. And as I said, irresponsible for me to tell you that right now. I cannot watch tape of these guys and say that Belal's not going to get him down. Belal's going to get him down here. Belal's going to get his grappling game going. He's going to get his wrestling going. He's going to take JDM down here. And he may even win the fight based on that. But let me tell you something now. JDM has cardio for days. That guy has the will to win like I'm almost never seen in the welterweight division. That guy will never, ever count himself out. And, you know, his skill set doesn't rely on a crazy head kick out of nowhere. He is a vicious striker like Leon Edwards, right? This guy came back in the 5th round and knocked out Kamaru Usman. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime head kick, right? He doesn't have the skill set to just consistently knock people out if he's down 4 rounds to none. Let me tell you who does have the the skill set to consistently knock somebody out if he's down 4 rounds to none. It is JDM. JDM only needs a split second on the feet to put crazy damage on you, crazy combinations on you. You're up against the cage. You've been grappling him for 2 rounds. Now you're up against the cage and he's throwing a 10, 8, 7 punch combination. JDM has the skill set in the boxing, on the feet, to brutalize his opponents and put them unconscious or on wobbly legs with just 1 shot. But guess what? He doesn't throw just 1 shot. This guy throws in combination. This guy is dangerous with the knee. This guy is dangerous with the club and sub. He can rock you. take you to the ground, get on top of you and submit you. And this guy is also straight up dangerous on the feet with his patented boxing. Jab, jab, 1-2, hooks, good night. So Belal is going to be in a world of danger if he doesn't finish Jack Della Maddalena for every single round. You know, I really think this is a fight in which only one man can win it out of a singular moment, right? Or only one man can come back from defeat and win it. I think if Belal's down 3-1 going into round 5, this guy's not winning the fight. Could he take him down and submit him? JDM's been put in a bunch of submission attempts before. Shout out to Amir, who almost had him in an arm triangle. Shout out to Ange Lusa, who had him in an arm triangle. Like, he's been put in a lot of submission attempts, right? Because his grappling isn't there, but I do believe it's improving. I do believe his will to win is good. I think he's a decent survivor, so he can get put in those submissions, but potentially he won't tap in those submissions. There are good survivors in jiu-jitsu. They're not the best at jiu-jitsu, but they're good at surviving, and that's all Jack Della Maddalena really needs to do, because his striking is really for the most part on another level. So yeah, I really feel like JDM has all the finishing upside in this fight, all the knockout upside in this fight, and the only one I can see losing rounds and coming back, right? And on top of that, he has more chance to finish the fight early as well. So it's like, yes, he can come back at the end of the fight, right? Like, if I got a JDM ticket and we're losing 2-0, I'm still going to be like, yo, we got a chance here. Whereas if we got a Belal ticket and JDM's boxed him up for 2 rounds, I'm not going to be confident, right? And also, you're getting a big favorite. But then on the other side of that, if someone goes out there and just knocks the other person out or finishes them in round 1, who's that going to be? Is it going to be Belal? Most likely it's going to be JDM, right? So we've got most of the finishing upside, not only early, but also late. You know, there's a bunch of fighters that are front runners. They got big finishing upside early. Diego Lopez, I know he had an out-of-body performance against Volk, which he still lost. But before that fight, you would have thought, like, yes, Lopez can catch him early, but later, Volkanovski's going to win. It's not like that here. It's like JDM can catch him early, and later, JDM can also catch him, and in the middle of the fight. So it's like, already, I'm leaning more to the JDM side, especially as an underdog, because I'm like, damn, we got a lot of danger factor here. One thing I want to mention as well is that, man, Belal has been on a good streak, but he has been caught before. You know, never forget, he got head kicked and was on wobbly legs against Leon Edwards. And I'll tell you something now, if you go back and watch Belal Muhammad's fights, he has trouble with people who have very good pocket boxing, can string combinations together and hit hard. If you see the two people that really brutalized him in the octagon, it's Vicente Luque, which he got knocked out, and Jeff Neal. And let me tell you something now. JDM is the new Jeff Neal and Vicente Luque. He is the new pocket boxing guy who can string combinations together. He is the new boxing dude in the welterweight division. That's who JDM is. If you go back and watch the Jeff Neal fight, yes, he took a head kick which dropped him, but he also got dropped brutally by hands up against the fence. Like, it was the boxing that really done the damage against Belal Muhammad in that fight. Just as the Luque fight, he got caught with a shot. And let me tell you something now, JDM can throw that exact same shot that Vicente Luque threw. So yeah, I think overall, I think Belal Muhammad has a good chance to grapple JDM, good chance to take him down, good chance to control him at times like Gilbert Burns did, but I think JDM will scramble with him. I don't think Belal has the best control. I don't think Belal has as good control as an ADCC grappler like Gilbert Burns, which we saw play out in that fight, and JDM still, you know, was able to get a knockout. So if Belal's not grappling this guy for 5 rounds, he is going to be struggling on the feet. Let me tell you something now, he is not going to be looking pretty on the feet. He doesn't like the pressure, he doesn't like the pace, he doesn't like the inside boxing, and I do think that he can land some strikes himself. He's got a good body kick. You know, we've seen that in the Gilbert Burns fight time and time again in his whole career, but specifically in the Gilbert Burns fight, he was smashing that body kick at range, and he's got very high fight IQ. So I'd be silly and irresponsible, like I said, if I didn't think Belal would have moments in this fight and minutes and whatever you want to call it, but JDM is going to be my official pick. I'm picking the underdog in the main event this time around. I picked Corey Sandhagen with ease last week, but this time I am not picking the favorite. This is Jack Della Maddalena all day. Jack Della Maddalena is going to put the pace on him, put the pressure on him, land those boxing combinations in close, and he is going to crack Belal Muhammad with something hard and fast. That strike will most likely be the punches, but it could be a knee, it could be an elbow, it could be a head kick. Like, JDM is dangerous with all limbs, make no mistake about it. And overall, I believe that JDM is going to catch Belal with something big and knock him out. I think JDM wins the title, the UFC title, via knockout. And the Canadians and Australians in their country go wild for him. JDM via KO is my prediction. The next fight on the card is Valentina Shevchenko taking on Manon Fiorot. Now, Valentina coming into this fight with a lengthy record, 24 wins, 4 losses with 1 draw. the draw came in one of her recent fights against a girl who we're going to speak about soon. Manon Fiorot comes into this fight with a record of 12 wins and 1 loss. So Valentina, big experience upside in this one. So currently they have Manon Fiorot sitting as a minus 147 favorite. So one of those rare times when the challenger is actually the favorite. With the underdog price tag on reigning champion Valentina Shevchenko coming back at a plus 127. So first thing that stands out to me is the line movement. So I looked at this fight probably around 4 or 5 days ago. And bear in mind that the time you see this video is not the time I record it, right? Because we have to give time for the editing. But yeah, around 4 or 5 days ago, as I'm recording this video, at the time of recording, I saw the line was a pick'em, right? The line was about minus 110, minus 150 Manon Fiorot, and it actually shot up to minus 170 Manon Fiorot. Now, money does come back in on Valentina Shevchenko, so she's dropped down now. She's only a minus 147 favorite. I think there's minus 140s out there. So yeah, money is coming back in on Valentina, but still moving towards Manon overall since the line got put out. And I truly see why. You know, Manon Fiorot is a beast. I've been betting on her since she came into the octagon. I actually bet on her at the same price in her debut, which is quite funny, right? Like, I got the same price against, man, I don't want to use the word complete bum, but I'm gonna leave you to choose a name for Victoria Leonardo, a girl who was finished in 4 out of her 5 UFC fights and who just lost to a 10-10 fighter on the regional scene, right? I got minus 160 against her, one Manon Fiorot, and now she's the same price. So it's just funny how the market moves, right? Obviously, she was around minus 900. True line in that spot, probably making it one of my best bets ever, but yeah, I just don't really think of it. I don't think that the line movement is unwarranted. You know, Valentina is getting old now. We've seen some decline in her performances, even though she just had a very good performance in her last fight. It was a good stylistic matchup for her in that the takedowns were free. You know, if you go back and watch the trilogy of Valentina and Grasso fights, which I did, right, which is her last 3 fights. I watched all fights, guys, and the takedowns were there in every single fight. It just so happened that the first fight, her back got taken and she got submitted. And man, I watched that again. And yes, Grasso did land some shots, especially early in the fight, and she won a couple of rounds. But man, I was watching that fight and I was like, that is such a lucky win for Grasso. Like, she was down on the cards, getting dominated anytime she got taken down, and Valentina randomly slipped and Grasso took her back. She got slipped jiu-jitsu shower, but that was a fluke. And then in the second fight, Grasso did better, but I still thought that Valentina just looked just a step ahead and she just didn't win. And I do think that comes down to the age, you know? And then in the third fight, she completely mollywopped Grasso, made her look bad, and just dominated her from pillar to post with the wrestling for the most part, right? So I think that she finally learned from those 2 fights and like, okay, takedowns are completely free here. And Grasso probably didn't have a good performance as well, but it's not like that wasn't evident from the first 2 fights. You know, it was evident that she just had a massive grappling advantage and at least a takedown and physicality advantage. So I think she's going to need to lean on that here. You know, for her whole career, she was basically a striker. Now, she did lean on her wrestling in some fights against Jessica Andrade, for example, completely dominated her on the mat. But for the most part, she's a striker. She came into the octagon as a beast striker, right? But in her last fight, she's winning the fights via wrestling. And that's because, in my opinion, she's getting old. She's doing the Holly Holm route. You know, if you remember, guys, when Holly Holm came into the UFC, she's striking everyone. She ain't clinching. She ain't grappling with no one, right? She's out striking everyone. She's landing head kicks on Ronda Rousey. She's beating Miesha Tate up until the 5th round with strikes. And now, you know, towards the end of her career, she's just grappling everyone. And that's because of age, right? She's getting older. She doesn't have the reflexes as she once did on the feet. She doesn't have the speed as she once did on the feet. Perhaps she doesn't have the durability as she once did on the feet. You know, Grasso rocked her a couple of times. So what does she do? She leans into now her extensive MMA experience, even though she came into the octagon as a striker. She leans on her MMA experience, her physicality, and her much improved wrestling and ground game. And the issue is, I don't know whether she's going to be able to do that against a girl who is as physical as Manon Fiorot. I mean, Manon Fiorot didn't even struggle really at all with Erin Blanchfield, who is a very tough girl, strong girl. Fiorot is such a physical girl, and she showed that in the Erin fight, and to be honest, all of her fights, because Erin's not the most physical, but she is determined, and Manon Fiorot was able to actually take her down, right? And Erin did have some control time there. She had a position, she had a chance. She went for a submission. She had a chance to finish it, but Manon Fiorot looked good, defended it. She was fine. So I don't know if Valentina is going to be able to fall back on what she has been doing in her recent fights, which is the wrestling. I don't know if that's going to be true. Now, if she isn't able to do that, she's probably effed here, because although she came into the octagon as a striker, Manon Fiorot is probably better at this point in her career. She hits harder, in my opinion. Her distance management is probably better. She has better durability. And I just don't feel like Valentina has it in her anymore to win a striking match on Manon Fiorot. I think she won't do it. So, yeah, that's really what the fight comes down to. Is Valentina, to me, is Valentina going to be able to get a top game going? Now, boys, I'm not always right, so maybe I'm overlooking something here. Maybe I'm overlooking the striking prowess of Valentina Shevchenko. It's possible here. Maybe Valentina's going to compete very well on the feet. Maybe Valentina can win a couple rounds on the feet. Maybe I am underrating her a little bit. I just believe that we've seen a steady decline in her fights recently, and the decline is enough to where I have to pick Manon Fiorot to win a striking fight. If she can get a grappling game going, the fight's going to look completely different, because Manon Fiorot is not the level of grappler that Valentina is. I don't think she's the level of wrestler. She's probably not the level of jiu-jitsu player, at least offensively. And so I don't see a world in which Manon's just going to be flat on her back from getting taken down and just getting back to her feet easily. I don't really think that's going to be the case. I think Valentina's probably going to do some damage, probably going to stay in top position, probably going to eat minutes. I do think Manon could get back up. Of course, I'm not saying she's never going to be able to get back up, but I think Valentina will win minutes if she's able to get her flat back. I just feel like it's going to be tough to get Manon's back flat to the cage, because it has been tough for her entire career. So I'm going to pick Manon Fiorot to win this one. I'm going to pick Manon Fiorot to win this one via decision. And I think we get a new champion in the women's division. So yeah, we're going to get 2 new champions on this card, in my opinion. Speaking of new champions, we can speak about an old champion and a potential new champion in the future. In the next fight, we've got Natalia Silva coming into this fight with a record of 18 wins and 5 losses with 1 draw. Alexa Grasso coming in with a similar record of 16 wins, 4 losses, and also 1 draw. This is a battle of South America. We have Brazil taking on Mexico, and I do think Brazil is going to come out victorious in this one. So Alexa Grasso is a very good fighter, right? Let me not make any mistake, because I'm going to go in on a breakdown telling you why I think Brazil is going to be successful. But Alexa Grasso is a very good fighter, very good striker, good 1-2, great boxing, very, very slick and opportunistic jiu-jitsu, as we've seen in multiple fights in her career, namely the big title fight against Valentina Shevchenko. She also did it a couple of fights prior to that with Joanne Calderwood. So I do think that Alexa Grasso has some skills that are probably better than Natalia Silva. But when I look at Natalia Silva, I see a girl that can play MMA very well. I spoke in depth about Muay Thai and certain striking arts in MMA and how they translate. And I always have said that Muay Thai is not a great striking art for MMA, because the footwork is just not there. And it doesn't allow you to evade takedowns well. It doesn't allow you to evade the grappling game. And it doesn't allow you to point fight or score points that well, because you're always there to be countered, or at least you're there to be hit back, even if you don't get countered. That's why you saw someone like Ian Gary, who has not even a tenth of the striking experience as someone like Carlos Prates, easily outpoint Carlos Prates for 23, 24 minutes of that fight. Is because Carlos Prates is Muay Thai striker, and it's just not ideal for MMA. We saw Trevin Giles easily win a round against him, right? It's because, like I said, it's mainly the footwork, right? And just that overall style. And Natalia Silva does not have that. Natalia Silva has a kickboxing point style, a karate background, taekwondo background, meaning that this, if you can perfect it, this is a very elite style for winning minutes in MMA. You can speak about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He went all the way up into the belt, challenged for the title multiple times. We can speak about Michael Venom Page, who just embarrassed another striker in Shara Bullet, on the feet. It's because these guys who can bounce in and out of range, hit and not get hit, have very good leg dexterity and very good lead leg, specifically lead leg kicks and kicks in general. They can just outpoint you because you can't get close to them, right? And that's what Natalia Silva does very well. Her distance management is very, very high level. Her range control is high level. She sets up strikes well on the feet. She goes body, body, head with the lead leg. She hits you to the leg, low kicks multiple times, and then comes up top. She has very good spinning kicks, and she times them very well. If she isn't knocking you out with the spinning kick, she's still scoring points because she's knocking you down, and she actually judges her spinning kicks very well. Most people, when they spin, they might land a few, but most of the time they're missing. But Natalia Silva has quite a high accuracy on her spin shots, which is quite unusual. So yeah, I think she's very high level on the feet, and she's adapted her striking game for MMA. And just in general, it is a good striking style for MMA if you can shore up all of the other aspects of MMA. The issue is most people that are really good karate and taekwondo fighters, it takes a long time to get that good, right? It's not like a boxer. You can box for 3 years and just become a very good boxer for MMA standards. Taekwondo, to get those beautiful axe kicks and just look super fluid, it takes a long time, right? 5 years plus at least. And if you spend that much time in that specific art, you're probably not going to be a great wrestler. You're probably not going to be a great jiu-jitsu fighter, etc. And on top of that, I'm going a little bit into the weeds now, but just to give you some context, on top of that, if you go to an MMA gym, they're going to teach you a basic Muay Thai body kick, right? Or a Dutch kickboxing body kick or something. They're not going to teach you a lead leg axe kick. They're not going to teach you a lead leg side kick. It's more rare to learn, right? But if you can get it down, you get the Natalia Silvas of the world, you get the Stephen Thompsons of the world, you get the Michael Venom Pages of the world. And it's a very hard style to beat on the feet. Alexa Grasso has got a work cut out for her here. She's going to have to trap Natalia against the cage like people like Viviane Araújo and Jessica Andrade were able to do at points. And she's going to have to score big. She's going to have to land big, land knockdowns, or land big damage, because if she doesn't do that, Natalia is just going to be racking up points on the outside and winning the decision. And that's how I see the fight going, guys. I think Natalia Silva will win this fight via decision. I think there is a potential of a knockdown or something because, you know, Grasso is going to have to close distance here if she's going to win. And if she does close distance, not smart enough, she could get dropped like Viviane Araújo, maybe up against the cage. Natalia can circle off with a hook and drop her like she did against Araújo. So Grasso, you know, while she can make this fight at close with certain moments in her boxing, her far superior boxing, I just feel like Natalia is much better on the feet. She's going to be able to defend the takedown. I don't think Grasso is a great wrestler at all, and I don't think she has it in her to wrestle Natalia Silva. If she gets her down, it could be trouble, because I don't think Natalia Silva is great off her back. I just don't think she's going to be able to get her down, you know. So maybe she catches a kick. Maybe Natalia Silva falls down over a kick or a spin, something. Maybe she could get her back taken from a spin. These things are possible. You know, her style brings some inherent volatility into it when you're throwing all of those kicks. You can fall over. You're off balance anytime you throw a kick. You're not on balance because you've got one leg now. So, you know, shit can happen. Kickers do fall over more than boxers, right? JDM's going to fall over himself less than someone like Natalia Silva over the course of 5-10 fights. But Natalia Silva has great balance, amazing balance. We saw that in many fights. Jasmine Jasudavicius fight, we saw it specifically in her debut. But yeah, I think overall Natalia Silva is going to win this one. She's going to outpoint Alexa Grasso, going to win the range battle, and she's going to win this one via decision. One thing that's going to be very interesting for me in this fight is that I went back and watched basically all of Alexa Grasso's fights, literally like almost all of them. The reason is because I wanted to see a fighter who was outside, trying to kickbox her from the outside. She's never fought anyone like that. She's never fought anyone like that. And Grasso, Natalia Silva has fought a lot of girls like Grasso. Maybe not as high level, but she has fought a lot of girls who fight like Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso has fought at the level of Natalia Silva, and Natalia has never fought at this level before, but that is heavily evened out by the stylistics of the fight. Grasso has never experienced this level of striker who fights this style before, whereas Natalia has experience against these girls who are going to try and pressure her and box. And let me tell you something now, Grasso needs to pressure and box because she doesn't usually do it. She likes to counter herself as well. Yes, she can throw strikes first, but she likes to counter herself. And she ain't going to be able to do it against Natalia Silva. You know, I don't think she will anyway, not you know, consistently for 15 minutes. Like Grasso, like I said, she's used to fighting Joanne Calderwood, Muay Thai striker who was pressuring her the entire fight. Joanne Calderwood is walking forward the entire fight, pressuring her, Muay Thai style. You know, same thing with Valentina Shevchenko. This girl is a stationary target who doesn't move much on the feet, who just throws strikes. She hasn't seen Natalia Silva striking before. So yeah, I mean, going round in circles, really. But the crux of the point is that I feel like Natalia Silva's got this one. So yeah, Natalia Silva via decision is the pick for me. And I think it's a good bet as well. Right, now next up on the main card, we have Jose Aldo, the legend, taking on Aiemann Zahabi. Jose Aldo coming into this fight with a legendary record of 32 wins and 9 losses. Aiemann Zahabi coming to this one with a record of 12 wins and only 2 losses. So currently they have Jose Aldo as a big favorite, -220 favorite, and Aiemann Zahabi The underdog price tag on him coming back at plus 185. So yeah, I don't have a great read on this one, guys. I just gave you pretty confident predictions. I said JDM KO, I said Manon Fiorot decision, and I said Natalia Silva decision. On this one, unfortunately, I don't have a great read, boys and girls. One thing I want to say is that these are early predictions. This is very important. These are only early predictions. So like I said, when you watch this, I've recorded this very early in the week, right? And I still have lots of tape study to do, lots of research to do, lots of thinking to do, and I haven't made my official predictions. My predictions can even change. That's why I say it's very important. If you want to make money with me properly, you need to sign up to my VIP, get access to all of my official plays, all of my official breakdowns of the entire card, not just the main card, and the group chat where you speak with me and my community and me personally, so I can give updates closer to the fight. So what I'm saying now might not be my official prediction come the end of the fight, because there's still 4 or 5 days, right? But at the moment, as I see it, this is a very close fight. Aiemann Zahabi and Jose Aldo. It's a split decision type fight. I think either fighter can have big moments. I think Aldo can crack him, knock him out. I think Zahabi can crack the aging Jose Aldo, hurt him and potentially even knock him out. Overall, it seems like it will go to a decision. Overall, I believe that, you know, Jose Aldo has some advantage early, but maybe late he might start to slow down. Maybe Zahabi starts to get some reads. I think Zahabi's obviously going to try and clinch up Jose Aldo, because we've seen time and time again now. Jose Aldo loses like every fight he loses. It's because he's getting clinched up against the cage, whether it be Murad Dvalishvili, whether it be Alexander Volkanovski, whether it be Mario Batista. I mean, these guys are beating him from basically clinching him up against the cage. But man, it is hard to beat Jose Aldo. You know, it is very hard to win against this guy, even in his old age. And man, he is getting on now. Let's check exactly the age of Jose Aldo, because I believe he's 38 years of age now. Let's have a look. So yeah, Jose Aldo, he is 38 years of age. He's going to be 39 in September. But man, this guy's still coming back and getting wins. He beat Jonathan Martinez and he just landed a better shots there. Jonathan Martinez seemed like he was a little bit stuck in the mud against Jose Aldo. You know, he seemed like he fought like he had some jitters in that fight. I don't think he looked good. But at the same time, Jose Aldo's elite at shutting down the leg kick. You know, he has amazing leg kick defense and leg kicks as well. He doesn't throw as many leg kicks as he once did. You know what I mean? I remember him back in the WEC days just brutalizing people like Uriah Faber with leg kicks, kicking people off their feet. You know, Chad Mendes got hit with a lot of them. He doesn't do them as much anymore. I really don't know why. He's mainly a boxer now. He's so much mainly a boxer that he literally went and competed in boxing multiple times and then came back to the UFC. Boys, yeah, I mean, I can speak about this fight from both angles, but I really don't have a good read. I'm going to take Aiemann Zahabi for the win. I'm going to take Aiemann Zahabi reluctantly. I think the price is driving me. He's an underdog. I don't necessarily agree with him being a big underdog like this. I think Jose Aldo is obviously declining. You know, he isn't as good as he once was. He's still putting good performances up, but at some point he's going to go in there and he's just going to keep getting beat. I mean, I don't think Jose Aldo is going to be 40, 41 years of age in this weight class and winning fights like consistently. So I think if this fight happens in like 2 or 3 years, I'm kind of confidently picking Zahabi. You know, if Zahabi was still the same age he is now. It's not though, but I still have to project some decline in Jose Aldo's chin, cardio, reflexes, speed. Like, we have to bake it in. At 30 years of age, at bantamweight, you have to say every single time that they get in there, they could look like a worse version of themselves. You have to bake that in, right? I'm not saying it's super confidently because he's looked good against Mario Batista and Jonathan Martinez. But Mario Batista, you know, that's approaching 8-9 months ago now. So it's a long time. You know, at 38, 9 months is like 3 years at 32, for example. So yeah, I'm going to pick Zahabi mainly based on the intangibles. It's in Canada. The crowd's going to be going crazy for him. He's a great defensive striker in general. So Jose Aldo probably won't have chances to win the moments that oftentimes win him decisions, like in the Munoz fight or the Rob Font fight, for example. And then on top of that, the age, you know, it's like he's getting older. And on top of that, Aiemann Zahabi's a big underdog. So yeah, I'm definitely never advocating for Jose Aldo at minus 220, but that's really it. So I will pick Aiemann Zahabi, and I'm going to tell you how I think Aiemann Zahabi gets it done, if he does get it done. Very quickly, brief synopsis, just so you understand my point of view, that I'm not just saying it because he's an underdog. So Aiemann Zahabi, very good striking defense. I think he'll be able to evade the shots of Jose Aldo. I think Jose Aldo will try and hit him with some good athletic bursts at times, and I think he may do that. He may be able to do that, but I think over the course of 15 minutes, we're going to see Zahabi's striking acumen show. I think he's going to have a good game plan. He may grapple Aldo at times. I think he may clinch Aldo at times. I think he can land the big shots on Aldo, who is durability is waning. It's getting worse in each fight. So Zahabi could land a big shot here. And even if he doesn't put him out, he could still hurt him with that big shot. And overall, I think that Zahabi will show the boxing skill needed to win this fight against Jose Aldo. But like I said, very close fight. I could see Aldo going out there and knocking him out as well. So I don't have a strong read. But if Zahabi was to win, I believe those are the ways he would win. Canada being on his side and stuff like that. You could even see a split robbery decision here because Canada's cheering every time he lands a shot. And Jose Aldo, you know, this guy apparently is always losing split robbery decisions. We saw the Mario Batista one. There's also the Marlon Moraes one, right? Everyone says that Mario lost and Marlon lost, but the judges didn't see it that way. So we could be in for another one of those, especially because Jose Aldo is low volume. So that's it, guys. That's my pick. Aiemann Zahabi to win this fight. So that's it, boys. Now, the best part of the show, I give you a chance to win 1 month free to the Lucrative MMA Elite Zone. That is where you get all of my official picks, all of my breakdowns, all of my long shot parlays, all of my exclusive ways to make money betting on MMA, as well as my community group chat. Highly recommend signing up for this massive pay-per-view. All you need to do is go to the link in my bio or sublaunch.com/lucrativemma. Yes, we have changed websites now because we have a new community group chat. So you can speak to me personally and everyone in the Lucrative MMA team. Bunch of fans, MMA gamblers. You can speak with us all on fight nights. There's a ton of fun in there. So go to sublaunch.com/lucrativemma if you want to sign up, make money with us, chat with us about MMA and all of that good stuff. We also speak about other sports. But right now, I'm going to give someone a free chance to win. So we're going to spin the Lucrative Wheel of Fortune to find out who has won. So all you need to do to be in with a chance to win is to make a good comment on the video below, this video in the comment section below, and you will be automatically entered into next week's Wheel of Fortune draw. If you didn't win this week, don't worry, you can still sign up, link in bio of course, but make sure you leave a comment to be entered into next week's draw. And if you do sign up, I'll still add another month for you for free. But anyway, let's spin the Wheel of Fortune now. All right, guys, so I'm gonna spin the Wheel of Fortune and we'll see who's this week's winner. Spinning now, let's go. Who is gonna win this week? It's slowing down. Lots of comments last week, so I can't even see. Is it gonna be Bled Creations? No, Juan Rodriguez. Juan Rodriguez, well done. You have just won 1 month access completely free to the Lucrative MMA Elite Zone. So I have your YouTube channel up now. I can verify you. All you need to do is message me on social media, Twitter or Instagram, and I will get you in. See you on the inside, my friend. As I said, don't worry if you have not won this week. You can still sign up for the massive pay-per-view. We typically do well on pay-per-views, and we have a lot of bets looking to be locked in on this card. We already have a big underdog play up, and I'm going to add to it actually with a prop. So that's it, boys. Good luck on your bets this weekend. Let's cash it and start another 3-month win streak. Peace.